Hello everyone. Today we are talking about all of the things that I didn't buy in 2025. Now, I did a video like this early last year and you guys seemed to really like it and it was fun. The reason why I did that video was because I was fresh off my 2024 no buy. Now, I did not do a no buy in 2025. I really did not do a low buy in 2025. Is there such a thing as a high buy? Whatever you call it, that's what I did last year. And honestly, this year's not looking any better. Okay, we're gonna work on that. But shockingly, there are actually a few things that I did not pick up in 2025 that I considered picking up. They may have even found their way into my basket a time or two, but for one reason or another managed to say no to them despite having so much practice last year saying yes. So I want to discuss. Let's talk about these items. Let's talk about why I chose not to buy them and whether or not I think they will end up in my possession in the coming year. I'm gonna scoot over a little bit so that I can put some images up here because obviously I don't have these products to show you. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is actually something I think I mentioned in my hyped products that I'm not buying or something like that. I had a video like that last year where I talked about a lot of products that were getting a lot of buzz and why I wasn't going to be buying them. This was the Huda lip liner stain. So that lip liner stain came out last year. There was quite a bit of buzz surrounding that launch. Not long after, NYX also came out with their lip liner stains. I haven't watched that video back, but I believe my rationale for not picking up the Huda was because I believed it would be more likely for me to find a shade that was flattering on my skin tone in the NYX shade range. NYX's shade range seemed to have a little bit more variety. I felt like in Huda's line, there weren't any real obvious cool tones, and that's really what I'm shooting for. I have a cool olive undertone. Because of the cool and because of the olive, warm colors tend to pull really warm on me and look just off against my skin. So basically my thought was, instead of buying the Huda, I'm going to buy the NYX. Did I end up buying the NYX? No, I did not. That is in spite of the fact that toward the end of last year, I kind of went on a little bit of a lip liner binge. I really think that's the only real way to describe it. It was a binge. I acquired several new lip liners, and yet still I have not purchased either the Huda or the NYX. On a whim, I think it was during a Prime Day sale, before I could pick up the NYX, because I really wanted to go in store and I wanted to look at the colors. On a whim, this was late at night. Most of my impulse buys are online and they're late at night. And I bought one of CoverGirl's lip stains, their lip liner lip stains, because obviously this is not a new thing. They've been around for a while. And I remembered why I don't love stains. And that's because most of them eventually turn really fuchsia on my skin tone. And that is not a color that suits me. Part of what goes into a lip stain, in order to dye the skin, there are dyes basically, which are different from pigments. And a lot of those, especially on wear down, will turn really bright pink. That's just not a look that ever suits me. I do have a few K-Beauty lip stains that I really actually do quite enjoy that don't do that on me. But I also think part of that is because those stains are very sheer. They're just very light tints to the lip. They're not staining any deep colors the way the Huda and the NYX are. However, there is a second reason I haven't really been in a huge hurry to pick up the lip stains, and that's because I don't really like the look of that really defined lip line and a sheer lip color over top. I know that's a big thing right now, but I'm not feeling it, you guys. I'm just not feeling it, and I don't know if that was something that I would really love on myself. So for those reasons, I did not pick up Huda. I did not pick up the NYX. I'm pretty sure I've already decluttered the CoverGirl. I don't know that this type of makeup is for me, but never say never. Honestly, half of my makeup purchases are based on consideration and an understanding of myself and what I enjoy and how I like to do my makeup and the colors that I feel are the most exciting and the most flattering for me. And the other half is based on pure curiosity. So I can't guarantee you that the curious side won't win out and I won't pick up one of these lip liners in the future. Another thing that I was tempted to pick up last year was one of the Morphe contour sticks. I was tempted to pick this up, first of all, because I find contour products appealing for some reason, despite the fact that I have one that I love, that it's been my favorite for quite some time now. I keep trying new ones. That's the curious side for you. When you're doing contour on your nose or around your eyes or your lips, you really do need a little bit of added precision. And that's kind of what the Morphe is promising in its stick format. I actually did purchase a few new contour products last year, and after experimenting with all of those, I just came back to my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour stick, which is my favorite, tried and true. I've loved it for ages. That's the old ABH contour stick, not the new one. I have not yet tried the new one. The added precision that the Morphe offers is something I can get with a brush. That's really all I need. I have cream contours and powder contours that work perfectly with a little brush. I've got a few brushes that do the job really, really well. There's really no need for me to get another product simply for the benefit of that added precision. So I don't think I'll be picking up the Morphe contour, at least not until I can work through a little bit of the product that I already have. There have been a lot of stick products coming out, and another one that I was very tempted by last year was Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealer. I was really intrigued by this, and I think that's mostly the novelty factor. I think that was part of what was attractive about the Morphe as well. The novelty factor of, I don't have anything quite like this in my collection, and it's a different way of doing things. That novelty is really interesting to me. I love to experiment with new products and new techniques, new ways of doing my makeup, etc. But I had to weigh the novelty factor of the Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealer pencils against the fact that I'd basically have to be learning an entirely new way to do my makeup, and I'm not really sure that I would enjoy the process or the results. Really invisible, like traceless makeup used to be a huge draw for me. I was really very much a complexion focused person for most of my teenage and adult life. I went through all of the 2016, 2017, 2018 era, the cut crease era, we'll call it. I went through all of that, basically doing clean girl. I don't think it was until 2019 or 2020 when I started experimenting with more visible, creative, and colorful makeup. And these days, I don't mind if someone can tell that I'm wearing makeup. I really do not mind. So immediately, that benefit of those pinpoint concealers and of that technique that Lisa Eldridge does is a little bit lost on me. Now, I didn't completely stay away from the idea of the concealer pencils, okay? Because again, it was intriguing for me, and it was something I felt like maybe I would like to try just for the fun of it and to satisfy that curious side of me. However, I couldn't really justify a Lisa Eldridge price to satisfy my curiosity. So instead, I picked up a couple of concealer pencils from a brand, a K-beauty brand called The Same. And I picked up 2 shades. Now these pencils were significantly less expensive. I think I paid $4.50 or $5 a piece for each of those pencils. I can spend $10 to satisfy curiosity. Spending $30 to $60 to do the same thing is a little bit harder. Unfortunately, neither of the shades I purchased suited me well enough to really even attempt Lisa's technique with the pinpoint concealing. Fortunately, I found other uses for both of the pencils, and they kind of did their job in helping me avoid a much more expensive purchase. Now, I discovered 2 fantastic foundations in 2025. That was the Huda Beauty Easy Blur. I know that wasn't a new release in 2025, but that was the first time I tried it. Absolutely fell in love. I also tried the Tier Red Mask Fit Liquid Foundation in 2025 and also fell in love with that one. However, I am a foundation girl. I want to try them. I want to try all the foundations, okay? And there were a couple of them that really were interesting to me. One of them was the new ABH foundation, and the other one was the Maybelline Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation. And both of those looked fantastic to me. Both of those received great reviews. Although I do feel like the reviews that were coming in about the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation were kind of cut short by the release of another product. I can't remember what it was, but I remember I was seeing some good reviews about Anastasia Beverly Hills, and then something else was released and everybody turned and looked at that one. So I felt like ABH didn't really get her moment in the sun, as perhaps she deserved based on the really good reviews it was receiving. However, the reasons I didn't pick these ones up is because my more matte, higher coverage foundation bases are pretty well covered at this point. I mean, pretty well covered, even more so since I picked up the Tier. I mean, I'm good. I'm golden. I've got the Natasha Denona Foundation X, which is my top shelf favorite full coverage foundation. I also am trying to work through my Dior Forever foundation, which is a little bit finicky but can still look really nice. So that combined with the price kept me away from the ABH. With the Maybelline, I think I could have been persuaded, except for the fact that I really felt that I need to go in the store and look at the shades and see which one was going to suit me the best. I just did not have the time. At that point in my life, I did not have the time to spare to make a trip to Ulta. The tier, I was not only able to order the tier online, but I was able to order some samples ahead of the purchase to shade match myself and make kind of an educated guess about what would work best for me. So that's the reason why I ended up not picking up the Maybelline or the Anastasia Beverly Hills last year. Do I think I will in the future? I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to pick up either of them. Again, my bases are pretty covered when it comes to this type of foundation. And in the tier and the Easy Blur, those two, I feel like they're not the same type of foundation, but I feel like I enjoy them so much for different reasons and at different times of the year. I honestly don't know how much I can improve on that. A couple of other things that I was considering purchasing. One of them I actually think I mentioned in a video last year as a purchase I would probably make. I think it was the same video where I spoke about the NYX lip liner stains. This is the Danessa Myricks setting spray. That looked fantastic to me, especially as an oily combo girl. That looked really, really good, and the reviews were stellar. Along those same lines, I was also considering the One Size Oil Sucker Primer because of the good reviews it's gotten from other very oily folks. The reason why I didn't end up buying either of them is because I need most of my mattification during the summertime. But I spent most of the summer in 2025 indoors, makeup free with my brand new baby. And I just didn't need products like this. There is a setting spray in my 50 Shades of Black project pan that I could have finished months ago. But by the time I started to feel like I had the space in my life and in my brain to start doing my makeup more regularly after having my baby, the weather had started to cool down and products like these just weren't as necessary. So that is the primary reason I didn't pick these up. However, that doesn't preclude me eventually picking up one or the other, or possibly even both in the future. We'll just have to see how next summer goes. Okay, eyeshadow palettes. I did not actually buy a whole lot of eyeshadow palettes in 2025. And usually eyeshadow is one of the things that I'm the most excited to purchase. It's eyeshadow and blush. I love trying new things in both of those categories, and it's really hard for me to rein myself in. However, I only purchased 2 eyeshadow palettes in all of last year. Am I even correct about that? I'm suspicious. Was it really only 2? You guys, I only bought 2 eyeshadow palettes last year. Now, all in all, I ended up with 4 eyeshadow palettes last year. One was Decluttered to Me by Ruth Foley here on YouTube. She hasn't posted in a while and I kind of miss her face. Ruth, if you see this, thank you so much for the palette. And one of them was purchased for me by my husband. So 4 palettes came into my collection. I only did purchase 2 of those eyeshadow palettes. However, I made up for it in the number of blushes and lip products that I picked up last year. So many. I don't think my lip product declutter has gone up yet when you are seeing this. But when you do, you will get to see all of my questionable choices. Those 2 eyeshadow palettes I purchased in the last 2 months of the year. I purchased the Corte Rosa from Sigma in November. My only experience with Sigma eyeshadows so far has not been the best, and I wanted to see if it was the color story or if it was the formula. I think maybe it was the formula. The other palette I bought was the Icy Nude palette in December. However, there were some other palettes that did intrigue me, and I seriously considered a few of them. So I was very interested in all 3 of these, but this is from least interested to most. First was the Cosmic Beauty The Lovers palette. I am really into the pinks right now. And so the pink and peach colors in that palette were really speaking to me, especially those 2 kind of cooler pinks. And you can't tell by my eyeshadow today, but lately I have been really a lot more into those lighter, softer, more pastel-y colors. That was really very attractive to me about the Lovers palette. I really love the juxtaposition of pink and green. That mint and that sage color along with those 2 cooler pinks in there, delicious. So I was very tempted by this palette. I was also tempted by the Love Language palette, which was the palette that Morgan Turner did with Odin's Eye. Again, those soft pastel-y colors just really kind of got me. Those pinks and those purples. Pinks and purples honestly are kind of my jam. I really like the neutrals that were included in that one, and the shimmers looked delightful. I've always really enjoyed Odin's Eye shimmers. And then the one that almost got me. This one almost got me, you guys. It was the Morally Grey palette from Bella Beauté Bar. This was so cute to me. And those colors they are right up my alley. I didn't even mind the heart-shaped pans. Usually I don't like unique pan shapes in my eyeshadow palettes. I like circles and I like squares. Rectangles if you're feeling adventurous. At a push, you can skew them a little bit the way Odin's Eye does. But once you start getting into the really different shapes, It starts to feel like kids' makeup to me, and it's not in a good way. Somehow, however, these hearts did not trigger that for me. I thought they were cute. And again, those colors are just, they're absolutely, those are my kind of colors. And I think that's what saved me. That is really my kind of color story. It's the very cool with the dusty pinks and the grays. Love it. But that also means that I can probably dupe this color story like 3 times over in my collection. I also kind of hated the packaging, like the outer packaging. The inside of the palette I think looks beautiful, but the outer packaging, with absolutely no disrespect intended, the outside of this palette looks like it was put together in Microsoft Word back in 1997. That's what it's giving me. And while I know that we're supposed to be more concerned with the product inside the packaging than we are the packaging itself, I love pretty packaging. I mean, obviously I want the product inside to be fantastic as well, and I'm sure it would have been. From all the reviews that I've seen, Bella Beauté Bar did a fantastic job with the formula of these eyeshadows. But I want everything. I want the whole package. I want it to also be pretty. And this just did not hit that mark for me. So those are the 3 palettes that I was the most tempted to purchase in 2025 that I managed to not pick up. The one that I was the most tempted by, obviously, it was a limited edition for Valentine's Day. Actually, I think these were all Valentine's releases, weren't they? I don't know. Are any of them still available? I know that the Morally Grey palette is no longer available. Only one still available is the Lover's palette from Cosmic Brushes. Or Cosmic Beauty. Are we Cosmic Brushes right now or Cosmic Beauty? I do not know. But it's one of the two. Yes, the Lover's palette is still available, whereas the Love Language palette and Morally Grey palette are no longer available. So I'm saved from picking up either of those two that are now out of stock. The Lover's palette still calls to me. So far, I'm holding strong on that one, but I make no promises. I think the biggest thing, though, that it came down to with all of those palettes was that I have so many beautiful eyeshadow palettes that are already not getting the love that they deserve. That's actually the reason why I decided not to do a Pan That palette this year, because I need a little more time to play in my eyeshadow collection. I am more concerned with getting use out of and really enjoying everything in my collection over finishing as many things as I can. I can't promise you I won't be beguiled eventually by that Lover's palette, though. With any luck, it will sell out and it will save me from that as well. There's a couple of products from Charlotte Tilbury that I was really interested in, particularly the double-ended lip cheat duos. I can't remember what they're called and I didn't write it down here. The thing that was so attractive to me about those duos was the fact that you got 2 shades in one pencil. I really do love being able to vary the tonality with my lip liners, especially in a single lip look. I'd like a little bit of ombre on the lip, and the lip cheat duos looked fabulous for that. My big sticking point was the fact that Charlotte always pulls warm on me. I have never experienced a product from Charlotte Tilbury that does not pull warm on me, ever. With the exception, probably, of her contour wand. Her lip products have never been flattering on me. So despite the fact that the concept of those lip pencil duos was so intriguing to me, I had to stay away from that release. The second thing I was tempted by was her holiday face palette. Gosh, did this not look just so gorgeous. The packaging just got me right in the feels. And I was so in the mood to splurge, apparently, toward the end of last year, that I could very well have taken one of these home. You know I am weak for face palette, and you know I am weak for gorgeous packaging. And this was both, and was released at a time where I had some gift cards burning a hole in my pocket. The only thing that saved me from this purchase were the reviews. Everybody that I watch who reviewed these palettes, from everyone, it was a resounding meh. I just can't spend Charlotte Tilbury money for meh, no matter how glorious the packaging is. And oh my goodness, was it glorious. So this one was a no for me. Okay, let's talk about the Natasha Denona High Glam blushes. I was very tempted by these. Very, very tempted by these. And if you have seen my blush declutter, you can see that I really didn't hold back when it came to blush purchases in 2025. I did not. I didn't have a whole lot of restraint in that area. But when the Natasha Denona High Glam blushes came out, I already had such an abundance of blush at that point that I knew I did not need another one. As beautiful as they looked and as good as the reviews were on them, I just didn't need another blush. Now that didn't prevent me, obviously, from picking up the Tarte Macaron blush there at the end of the year. But listen, I was just weak in December. I was weak. I had gift cards, which made it feel easier to spend the money. And honestly, I think I was a little bit swayed by Tarte's packaging. The Natasha Denona High Glam Blush packaging is pretty, but there's just something adorable about the Tarte Macaron blush packaging that I just couldn't resist. And in a weak moment, that is the one I chose over the High Glam. Will I buy any more in the future? Listen, I'm going to really try not to. I have so much blush, a lot of blush that I really enjoy, and zero chance of finishing it all. So listen, I can't promise you I will not have another moment of weakness like I did the Tarte there at the end of the year. All of my other blush purchases were very inexpensive blush purchases, totally impulse buys. I really did try to keep a lid on the budget when it came to my blushes, even if I didn't really keep a lid on the numbers. That, of course, that went out the window with the Tarte Macaron blush, which was, I don't know, $38 or something ridiculous like that. I'm pretty sure the Natasha is more, but I was really eyeing that Patrick Ta She Goes to the Gym blush as well. I really eyed that one for a while. And yet that's not the one I ended up picking up either. I think it was the packaging. The Tarte Macaron packaging was just too cute. I can't promise that I won't have a moment of weakness in the future with the Natasha Denona the way I did with the Tarte. But as for now, I think I can hold off and enjoy the things that I currently own. That is the goal. That is the goal, okay? We'll see how it goes. If one of those blushes ends up in a future monthly roundup as a new purchase, listen, don't judge me, okay? We all have our weaknesses, and blush just happens to be one of mine. Okay, 2 things that piqued my interest a little bit, but I don't think they ever made their way into my basket. One was the ABH Micro Stroke Detailing Brow Pen. I didn't put that one in the cart, but I did examine it on a number of occasions in store and online. And ultimately, brow products are something that I go through so frequently. I went through so many brow products last year. If you saw my 5 months of empties, you would have seen, 6 brow products in there? A ridiculous amount of brow products. They're one of the things that I go through the most. And so because of that, they're one of the things with which I really struggle to justify a high price tag. If I bought it and didn't like it, that would be bad. If I bought it and did like it, then I'm cursed to buy it over and over again for the rest of eternity. Is that better? I don't think it is. It's a lose-lose situation for me, to be honest. They have to be affordable, or they have to last long enough to be passed down to your grandchildren, like the ABH Brow Pomade that I picked up. That one, I'm never getting through that pomade, not ever. And that's the only exception I can really make. The only other 2 high-end brow products that I have tried to this point, one came in an Ipsy, and another one I think was decluttered to me. So far, aside from the ABH, which we will exempt from this because it is such, there's so much product in there, I have managed to not fall in love with any high-end brow products that I'm going to be cursed to repurchase for the rest of my life. And I would like to keep it that way. The other thing that I kind of side-eyed a little bit, in a good way, but didn't end up putting in my basket, were the Danessa Myricks Color Fix sticks. The shiny, colorful nature of these sticks really were very tempting, especially the dual-ended, the ability to snap them onto each other. I feel like she's so innovative in her packaging in the way nobody else is right now. No one else is doing with their packaging what Danessa Myricks is doing with her eyeshadow palettes or with these Color Fix sticks. They're not just double-ended. You can mix and match them. That's genius, okay? So immediately there's the novelty factor there. And of course, the pretty colors are always going to catch my eye. However, this is just not how I do my makeup anymore. For the most part, Flower Beauty's Scribble Sticks are an exception because they're so good at very fast, easy, natural makeup. That's not what Danessa Myricks Color Fix Sticks are trying to do. When I'm doing quick, easy, natural makeup, that's not when I don't need a duochrome in that situation. And that's a lot of what Danessa's Color Fix Sticks are promising me here. A lot of color and fun. And I have plenty of that in a format that I prefer, which is a powder eyeshadow palette. And that is pretty much it. Obviously, there are plenty of things that I could have bought in 2025 that I didn't purchase, but I feel like this is the core group of the ones that I really considered. And I really had to reason my way out of them. I had to weigh the pros and cons, and these are the ones that just didn't make the cut or did not catch me on a day when I was feeling weak. One or the other. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one.